Okay, so this is chapter 5. We are at the final chapter. Um, what is the plot? Yeah, I was editing the last video and I suddenly realized there is zero plot to this. It is like total nothing. I mean, the it, it it's my friends, be glad that you do not have to actually read through this. I am saving you from that. It's it's awful. It like that church scene was ridiculous. I don't even understand what was going on there. That should have been taken out. And but there's so often in this, if you can even call it a story, where there's long dialogue where, and it'll be like words of just dun 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 dun, dun and it's just long and I have to scroll through. And like I said yesterday, that's what was going on. I was trying to get through, trying to figure, and then all of a sudden Parker shows up. So then I had to scroll back and figure out what was going on with that. And it's just like, oh my good heavens. It I, I went to English class. I attended several English, like through grade school, middle school, high school. So this is unacceptable. I know I listened. I got good grades. Oh, unless it was I graduated, then it was like there's no rules. I'm going to just do my own thing. This is like 2 years. If it's 2002, it's just 2 years after I graduated high school. So that's what happened. I went to community college, which our community college really isn't that bad. I don't know why people trash talk community college, because really our community college was the hardest thing I ever went through. It was actually harder than art school. Art school was hard, but which you would expect from college. But yeah, our community college was tough, man. It really was. But there's no plot. I mean, what is the story? So I actually looked through. I have a folder in my external hard drive that's of my old fan fiction, and this one was floating around and wherever on my external. I actually had to search for it, and but with my other fan fiction, there's actual story there. Yeah, I read a few of the stories. Actual story. Yeah, there's an actual story there. But this one has nothing. I actually found my last fan fiction. I'm pretty sure it was my last one. And cuz anyway, it's still pretty sappy and everything, but it has a solid story and a lot better than whatever this is. And I think that one was, like I said, 2006 was like the last time I wrote a story, a fan fiction story. Anyway, what I think that's what is really pissing me off about this story. There is none. There's like none here. Oh my gosh. Like what's the goal with this? I I don't It's like there's something happened here, something happened here. So, well, why did it happen? I'm so annoyed. All right, so let's look at chapter 5. Let's just see how this thing ends. Oh, because I'm curious. I just want to know. Okay, so it's the morning. It was Sunday, now it's Monday, and because we had that whole scene in the church. Why didn't anybody intervene? I mean, okay, let's see what happens on Monday. Okay. Uh, well, this one's okay. Um, this is something that they always taught us in English. I mean, I remember starting like around middle school. I don't remember them ever saying it in grade school. Probably fifth grade would have been the earliest. And they always said that your starter for an essay in like your starter paragraph, you use it in your ending paragraph and everything. And that's what I'm doing here. Say she woke up earlier than usual before the sounds of Manhattan were heard. And which how is that possible? And there's still going to be sounds in Manhattan. I'm sorry, when it was a busy uh city. Even I mean, you're going to have like the ships coming in, so you're going to be hearing the distant sounds of the docks, and there's still going to be the wagons going back and forth in the street. That's yeah, again, this is somebody who has never been to a big city trying to okay. Oh, that's right, she went home instead of staying at the lodging house. She keeps going back and forth to that damn lodging house. Okay. And then it's like she left a dress there, taking all of her other luggage. This girl is so confused. I don't like this character at all. Okay. So she's going through her collection of dresses, trying to find one better than the last. And when she finally found one, she got dressed, asking the cook to help her with her. Oh, so now she needs help. She didn't need it the day before. Was it the day before? Yeah. I it makes I have kept characters like Jackal. Actually, I did find Jackal in one of my other fan fictions when I was reading. I was like, was this when I first introduced him? And he hasn't really changed all that much. I love that character. He's my favorite. Like I said, if I had children, he would be he'd be my favorite child. So that's why I don't have kids. I can't have kids. So this is the closest thing. Oh, good heavens. And I'm fine with not having kids. My I hate it when people are like, "Oh my gosh, you don't have kids." I'm like, "You're right, I don't." I'm happy with that. Anyway, so she's getting her hair fixed, and as she put the last barrette, I've spelled barrette wrong. And this is a funny thing. I do have to say, there are always those words that for some reason you always spell them wrong. You go to spell them and you're uh like barrette. Do you always is it Barrett? Is there an E at the end of that? Is it I don't know. And for I've mentioned that Dan Quayle spelled potato wrong, and I was seeing that a lot of people were mentioning that that is the old English spelling. So him being um the age that he was or wherever he lived. I guess that in the Midwest, they still spell it that way and everything. So, I mean, I could get a good chuckle out of it, but in certain areas, they still spell it with the old English spelling and everything. So, but yeah, there are certain, there are times that the word exercise still trips me up. And I remember I was in fourth grade and I had to spell it out for some reason, and I had to spell it for the class. And for some reason, I just froze up. I knew how to spell it because I think we were doing some kind of a mock spelling bee in the class. And but I knew how to spell it, and for some reason, I got the two flip, the C and the S flipped. And so to this day, oh gosh, yeah. So yeah, there are just those certain words where it's like, I gotta look it up. And so here with Barrette, yeah, Barrette, sometimes I know how to spell it. Other times I'm like, is there an E at the end? I don't know yet. And then there are other times where those little words like and or and you look at it for a long time, I'm like, I swear that's the wrong spelling for it. I hate that so much because you're just having a day. Okay, so the tragic news. The newsies are selling their papers, yelling the headlines. I've mentioned a lot of the who you hear in the newsies, the newsies from the movie. Now, I was pretty new on the mailing list at this time, but I had read a few fan fiction and they had their own characters. Now, of course, I have Swindler, so you would think that I would have added other uh yeah, littered a few of my own Manhattan. Yeah, I don't know why I didn't. And I don't know. It's kind of irritating. Why didn't I do that? Because it's like with the uh Manhattan. I made up a Brooklyn newsie. Why couldn't I make up a bunch of Manhattan newsie? I don't know. That I just thought of that. Why didn't I do that? Yeah, we used to make up original characters all the time. It was a lot of fun. Yeah, and but Jackal's the only one that that survived. Oh, for me, I Swindler was such a bland character. I just didn't feel like, yeah, I had to let him go. Okay, so they're yelling the headline that Titanic hit an iceberg. Um, well, how early did she wake up? I'm wondering because, you know, that's the thing is I should have known that they didn't know how many people had died because it says Titanic hits iceberg and sinks, thousands sent to a watery grave. They didn't know that um, till, I mean, I don't know how long it took for them to know. Yeah. I mean, the news was still coming in. Yeah, I don't know. This, yeah, so she looks out her window and again, random newsy. And yeah, he's trying hard not to be seen. He's like, you don't see me. Was she still in her room? Yeah, it looks like she was. Yeah, it says that she was in her bedroom. Wow. So, okay, Jack walked in to her room. Jack just walked in. Whoa. Very bold of you, sir. Jack just walks into her room and a opened a newspaper and set it down in front of her. That's not worded very well. Okay. And then he leaves the room. And which, okay, if the wording were better, that could be. And if she were in a different room, like if she'd been in a study or the den as we've been using this whole time, it would have been, but not her bedroom. That's weird. Maybe I forgot what room she was in. Oh my gosh. That's highly possible. Oh, good heavens. But this, because, it's like a serious moment. He walks in, doesn't say a word to her, takes a paper and just puts it, in this case, puts it on her vanity and then just walks out. And then just kind of stares at her before walking away. Now, if it had been like in the study or vanity, uh, I woke up about 20 minutes ago, so I have stuff around my eyes. So, and I always feel like I have to explain myself why I'm always. I'm just a mess. I'm just a big old mess. But like I was saying, if it had been like in the study and he put it down like on the desk or something, yeah, that would work. And okay, so she looks at the newspaper and saw the headline and she can't believe it. Yeah. Oh, well, that's kind of a cool line. The unsinkable ship does the impossible. Yeah. Um, okay, so servants don't say a word when they saw her because she came out of her room, which I would think they would. She just found out that her parents may have died. Um, or at least her dad. Okay, so she opens the front door. She's gonna leave the house, and there's like a dozen of reporters wanting an interview from her. Again, not uncommon. I mean, she's the daughter of an aristocrat and who was on the Titanic, and I'm sure that before he left, everybody knew that he was on the Titanic. So um, then she closes the door and tried to leave through the back door. And she's walking around in a daze, which, okay, if she's walking around the streets, there had to be somebody who saw her, and then a reporter flags her down. So there's no way that she would have been able to just walk around. Okay, so she went inside the office of where of her father's firm, and the partner is talking to her, and she's confronting him saying, you wanted this all for yourself, because of course at the party there was that whole incident and everything, which I still don't get. It didn't make any sense. What was the point of that? Yeah, he and Jay were like working together to like take over the company, and but what would doing something to her. I don't know. It just didn't make any sense. Uh, okay, so he's denying it. Oh, and then David and Les suddenly appear. Again, why would they be working at the same place? And isn't Les too young to be, well, no, this is still the age of child labor, so I would, well, then Les wouldn't be working there. He would still be working as a newsie, I would think. Again, okay. So wait, if she were 6 and he were 10, that means he was 4 years older than her. And if she were like 14. Okay, so she were 13 or 14. So I guess he's around like around 20 years old, I guess. So yeah, I suppose. Okay, so they're trying to pull her back. Okay, so she's screaming at him and they're trying to pull her away. And she's saying, yeah, my parents could still be alive. And again, lots of hand holding in this. I just don't understand. Okay, so they're again going to the lodging house. Um, some of the newsboys hadn't gone to work yet. Why not? It's like I never watched the movie before. They all went to work together. Okay. Wow. And she's turned major bitch. Okay. Yeah, she like comes in and she's like, you still have to protect me. I want to remind you that you still have to, oh my gosh. And it's like, okay, yeah, because you're dealing with something tragic. We'll just yeah, oh. Yeah, now it's like a whole bunch of repetition right here. I mean, it's like a whole bunch of her asking back and forth, what if my parents survived? What if they went down with the ship? What if this, that, and the other? And the people around her are like, I don't think like that. You can't lose hope. It's the word hope is being used a lot, and I'm already sick of it. Oh, Lordy. Yeah, like at this point, David and Les were confused because not 10 minutes ago, Katrina made it clear that her parents may still be alive. And again, don't give up hope. Again, I said it in the last video. It was like I refused to remove anything that I wrote. It's like, and I clearly remember that my teachers would say the whole point, you write the first draft, the second draft is like an editing process. You remove stuff, and then the third draft is again like the final editing process. Yeah, and it's when you're dyslexic, there's like 15 drafts. I mean, and then some. There's so many drafts. When you have to do your own editing process, it's oh my Lord. Oh, So now Klopman is being really nice and saying that the room that she's been staying in was never used. Because she's saying, well, what if they never return? What if, and all this. And he's saying that she could stay there. And I just, which how could she so easily adapt to, yeah, I can't see that working out. There have been instances where people of aristocrat society would run away and become a street kid. They wanted to get away from it. They couldn't handle it. And yeah, there were quite a few street kids who had actually been um, and okay, so Jack returns and he says that people are like vultures, they're buying papers right and left. You should be used to that. Okay. So he didn't notice Katrina, and then the waterworks come in, which, yeah, okay. He tries to comfort her, and again, this whole thing, this has already been established. Okay, it's repetition. As Green Day says, we're living in a repetition. All right. Okay, so and then Parker is brought into the subject all of a sudden. You'd still go back to Parker for your parents. I don't know what I'd do. So she's obviously confused now. So perfect sense. I mean, she's in shock now. Um, well, now it's kind of dramatic and stupid. I mean, I don't want to lose you. I may have lost my parents. And and the the lodging house door has taken more of a beating than anything else in this story. This lodging house door deserves a medal. Oh my goodness. Oh my heavens. And it's Spot and Swindler. Okay, so they see that Katrina's there and stop. There's a lot of stopping in this story too. It's like they see somebody and they stop. That's the word of the day. And she asked, she's trying to change the subject, and she asked how Brooklyn is. And okay, so Spot's trying to be nice, gives her a big old hug. And okay, so Swindler said, well, we were thinking that we could help you. And she says, well, um, I may want a different place to stay because Manhattan reminds me too much of what I may have lost. Well, she doesn't know if her parents, I mean, she doesn't know anything yet. She needs to chill out, right? But second of all, Parker lives in Brooklyn. right here. And I think it's Swindler that's saying it. You should stay here because you may not want to be close to Parker right now. Yeah, as I said, yeah, don't make any choices. Okay, so people crowding the streets to find out survivors, that kind of thing. One of the newsies came in and updating them. I heard someone say there's more living than what is said in the papers. Uh, guess they're keeping in touch with the ship that saved them. Okay, so now Katrina's excited and so then Spot if you remember, she had asked Spot to go and take care of Parker. And he says, well, Parker had policemen all over his house. There was no way we could get in. And she's like, oh, great. So he'll be looking for me. And somebody pointed out, yeah, and I'm thinking Jack too. Oh, geez. That's okay. We're not even going to repeat that. That is so... I had no. I cringed inside myself having to read that. You know how you read something and you're like, oh, I can't believe somebody thought that a grown adult would think that was romantic. Oh. Oh, Lordy. This is still trying to figure out what the plot is. What was is it like what of those were like I mean, I guess it started off okay. Like she was supposed to be engaged to she was, dating this uh fellow rich kid and everything. And then all of a sudden her path crossed with oh gosh, this is so Titanic. It's driving me insane. And everything just kind of went upsy daisy until her parents were supposed to come back. And like what but it's like there's so many nothing is solid here. Okay. Okay, so after that the cringiest thing ever written, Spot asked what they're going to do about Parker. Yeah, there's something. I mean, even in the other fan fiction that I was looking at, I was like, I can't believe I wrote that. Yeah, there were some that it was like I didn't know how to end something. I was reading it and I was like, oh, I threw up a little just now. That was terrible. Okay, so now they're trying to figure out what to do about Parker, and Klopman is like, there's really nothing you can do. And of course, they're not listening. You guys already told. Okay. So, you know, they were trying to figure out what to do, and again, I had to get through a lot of word vomit and everything, and it says, do you know something that'll help us to, you know, go after Parker? And she's thinking, and she's like, I can't, I don't really know anything. And then she turned to Spot and said, well, he lives in your territory. I would think you would know something. And it's like all of a sudden he's he's acting all nervous and everything. And finally, Swindler said, okay, we can't keep it from you anymore. You should know Parker's been seeing another woman. Quite honestly, I am surprised that I wrote something like this because of the time that I wrote it, because I was a very shy person, and something like this would not be something that I would have written. Not until, like I said, after the seizure. After the seizure, it was like I was heavy into My Chemical Romance and Green Day. I mean, I liked Green Day before, but once American Idiot hit, I mean, I was the rebellion really set in, and yeah. So writing this kind of stuff surprises me. Writing a character that was abusive, writing a character that I mean, I was even hesitant. I remember there was one that I wrote right after this, and just a couple months after this, and um I was hesitant to make Spot a womanizer, but everyone else was, so I thought, why not? And I was so sheltered. I didn't know what womanizer meant. 20 years old, I didn't know. And I had to look it up. Oh man. I love that I can laugh at myself and stuff like that. Anyway, okay, so he's been they're both terrible people. Parker and yeah, I liked Parker, now I don't. He and Katrina, they deserve each other. They both have secrets. Anyway, um, this whole thing just needs to be set on fire. This is the kind of story not to write. Anyway, because there isn't a story, there's no plot. What is going on? Uh, okay, so like she's in shock. Why are you so shocked? You're seeing Jack. I don't know what the whole what? What? This makes no sense. This makes absolutely no sense. Why is it that they're trying to make her a victim when when she's fooling around on him? She's yeah. And she's been telling the guys to attack uh Parker. I mean, she told the one guy, yeah, uh, assault him for me, would you? She's no better. So why did I write this shit? She recruited somebody to. Oh, this thing doesn't make any sense. What was going on in my brain to write something this bad? This is terrible. This is a horrible thing. I don't condone this kind of. And I wrote it. What is. Quite honestly, I'm wondering if there was something going on And this was like a, like all the and this was like a cry for help. Because there's another fan fiction that I wrote that it's an obvious cry for help. There's a lot of my poetry that it's uh, yeah, there were bad things happening, and that was my release and everything. So yeah, this doesn't make any sense. She's not a victim. Not a victim. This is so weird. Yeah, and because like I was saying, when I was the when I suddenly remembered what had happened to me back when I was 11, I was like 22 years old, and it was after the seizure. So there's no way that this, I don't know. This is okay. So now they're regretting ever telling her. Yeah, because she's like having a meltdown. Oh, the timing's all wrong. And now Klopman's like, are you guys just gonna sit there, or are you gonna take care of Parker? Oh, so now he's condoning violence. Klopman, I trusted you. What? Okay. So he says that he loves that girl as much as they do, and something needs to be done. Okay, but she's been lying. She lied to Parker. She's been bitchy towards the newsies. I mean, she keeps flip-flopping as to and she orders them around, and she's just a horrible human being. Eh, I hate this. This is no wonder I put it away. And quite honestly, if I were to rewrite this, there's a whole bunch that I would obviously. There's the dance scene I would keep because that is just absolutely adorable. And I would rewrite it so that it didn't sound so much like Titanic. Oh my gosh. I would rewrite it so that it had an actual plot. That's the other thing. Yeah. Oh, good Lord. And so we would get the age thing correct. Oh man. I'm getting angry now. Oh my gosh. It's driving me nuts. Okay, so I guess they have an idea now. Okay, remember when he was mad that Katrina was seen with us? Which time? Because it seems like at the party, because I know it was a little confusing. Trust me, there was a lot of word vomit there too. But it seems like at the party, it was realized that they were newsies, they weren't high society gentlemen. And yeah, it seems like there was a big reveal there too. Um, ah, and there was the other time at the church, which just set that on fire. And that scene was just terrible. Like, I don't. Okay, invite him to Katrina's house, but make it look like he's not. Okay. Oh, I remember this. Okay. I thought that came earlier in this. Okay. This is such a mess. Okay. All right. Yeah, exactly. What's your idea again? Okay, so when Parker comes to the house, he sees Katie with Jack, and he'll start yelling, and then they jump out and get him because they'd be in hiding or something. Yeah. Dumbest idea I've ever heard. But in my dumbass brain, it worked. All right. Okay, so let's see. Parker always comes to Katrina's house alone. Yeah, you would think that he would have a bodyguard or something. I don't know why he doesn't. All right, so now a bunch of word vomit. Tons of word vomit. Yeah, because it's like this whole thing where they're having this conversation, yada yada yada, like how people stand around and just, you know, shoot the breeze. It's that kind of a thing. And it's like that's nobody cares, you know? But it's like I seriously thought that that was important to the story. And even with all those classes that I took in high school and everything, it didn't register. Finally did. Trust me. Okay. Okay, so Jack is talking to Klopman. Finally, we're here. So got past all that other stuff. Okay, so Jack's asking if he goes, "Do you think I was right getting mixed up with Katrina?" And Klopman says, "That girl has changed for the best since she met you." Uh, so the Newsies race couldn't stand aristocrats before Katrina. Um, how is it that 20-year-old me did not see while writing this that Katrina is just as bad as Parker? Because Parker, if they're so angry over the fact that Parker is seeing someone else, this whole time she took Jack out to dinner and has not stopped seeing him since. Oh gosh. Yeah. Okay, so it's the next day. Yeah, so it would be Tuesday. And um again, okay, I want to give you an idea. So this one, it says Newsies sold their papers before noon. People were scrambling to learn more about the survivors of the Titanic. And then it goes right into at the lodging house, the Newsies were getting ready. Okay. There's like 3 paragraphs where I'm explaining 2 or 3 paragraphs where I explain um yeah, it, it just not 2 sentences, just oh. So now they're talking about the plan and everything. This is such a dumb plan. Okay, so they're gonna okay, so they're gonna go to Katrina's house. Katrina's they're gonna make sure that she's okay as she goes in and all that. All right, so James is gonna go get Jay. Where would okay, so again, no description at all. It's like, okay, um, they're in the den. You're not. There's no explanation as to what the den looks like. No description. It's like this is the den, and that's it. What's in it? Oh, geez. Because yeah, of course. Okay, so we all can't hide in here. And then she smiles and walked to one of the walls. She pushed against it and it opened up. I hate that. It's kind of like when you're playing a video game. When I was an administrator for like video game forums, and there were those people that their character could do anything and everything. That's what that reminds me. Don't they call it like God modding or something like that? Yeah, I usually had to get rid of those people because it's like, yeah, you make it not fun. All right. So they go into that little room and so and it doesn't even describe what the room is. It's like here's the room. It's there. I have a feeling that I saw Young Frankenstein and decided to add that. That would make sense. Yeah, because I think it had just been released to DVD and or we had just bought it, either one. And so yeah, everybody's getting ready, getting into place. Okay. Doors swinging open, doors slamming, doors, all of the yeah, the den. And sometimes it's like they don't even like earlier where I said that there was no indication of doors being opened or closed, and then she is, yeah, I'm so annoyed with myself. Past self. Okay, so Parker comes in and finds them embracing and kissing and all that, Katrina and Jack. They're in the den and he's furious. And 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 they turn and look at him as if they weren't expecting him. That's great acting right there. Oh. And he's you strung me along while you conversed with the street trash in New York. Well, yeah. Oh. So now all the newsies jump out. I hate this so much. Again, I think I mentioned it in one of the other videos where it's like the final reveal and there's that one word and like everybody pops out and that's involved and and, and the person has to confess at that point. Yeah, I see it quite a bit in Murder She Wrote. And it's like the doors open, people walk out and they're like, very good. I I hate this. I absolutely hate this. They like they're they come out and they jump, they lunge at him. Like, now he's surprised. Now she's, you know, practically threatening him. She's like, be careful what I'd say around these guys. Uh, Yeah, and then they bring up the girl that he's been seeing, and he's like, "You can't believe them." And then he gets punched. Wow. I can't feel too bad for Park because he's a jerk, but he seems to be the only one. I mean, yeah, he put his hands on Katrina, but at the same time, he's getting hit more than anyone else in this story. There is no story. There's nothing here. Um, and then he tries to say that the woman is like his cousin, something to that effect. And then he says Katrina hasn't been faithful. And Jack's like, well, she broke off your relationship. Timeline, dude. Timeline. You guys are seeing each other before that. And go, your guys' math is as bad as mine. Oh. Oh, that's a low blow. Okay, this time he deserves. And and it's Skittery that punched him. Yeah, it needs to be Skittery. Because he says, you're just not thinking right since you found out about the death of your parents. So yeah, that's deserved. Okay, now she's ordering them around again. Okay, they didn't know. I don't know. I um actually I don't remember seeing when they knew when Murdoch was gone. Because right here it's saying what was the news today? And Jack is telling her they know the captain and first officer are lost at sea. And I mean, like there were articles all about how Captain Smith was lost and everything, but with everything that I watched, and I watched a ton. Quite honestly, I don't remember any of the articles ever saying anything about First Officer Murdoch uh, or First Officer Lightoller. So, huh, that's interesting. Uh, yeah, he didn't know who survived because newspapers were still trying to get information. God, that plan was so stupid. Oh man. I'm so surprised that there were people that read this and thought, yeah, this is good. This is okay. Why didn't anyone tell, or maybe they did, and because I was defending it so much, people just decided to stop trying to tell me. I can't believe I defended this. There's there's no story here. Oh my gosh. Okay, so it's kind of repetitive here. She's once again saying that she's afraid what's going to happen to her if her parents went down with the ship. He's saying we have us. And she says, well, how much longer? You can't be newsies the rest of your life. he's speaking for all of them. He's like, well, if that's what it takes to take care of you, we will. And oh, and then he says he loves her. And okay, that's a terrible time to confess love for someone, but yeah, sure, go for it. uh, after the Newsies had finished with Jay, what did they do to him? See, that should have been explained. She said to take him out back. You know, what did they do? Okay, so they listened outside the room, and when the confession of love came, everybody's happy except for Snotty. Oh, he had feelings for her. Yeah, he was secretly like, why were you okay? Why were you this doesn't make a sense. I don't like this story. There's no story. Ever since he first met her, and now that Jack had confessed, he knew he lost his chances. Well, you never said anything to her, and you could have at least said something. You stood off to the side. I do feel bad for him. I mean, okay. Yeah, a bunch of stuff about, some factoids about, women and children first and who survived, who died. And to kind of tie in with her trying to figure out if her parents. Okay, now they're trying to figure out where did Snotty go? Okay. In the back alley, yeah, there he is. See, this is so where is their house located? That the back, I don't know. I'm not even it just I'm trying to think of how I would think that it wouldn't be a back alley if you go through the back. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's an aristocrat neighborhood, so I don't. Uh, oh, he's already trying to break him up. He's like, what did he tell you about Sarah? Okay, so he told me she married a millionaire in Vermont, and then do you get the feeling he might be trying the same thing as her? Oh, wow. Oh, now, I mean, like, that was kind of a sleazy line, but yeah, it it would make sense. And and then all of a sudden, I hate this so much. And then all of a sudden, he turns around and he gives her a kiss. And then he confesses, yeah, all of it. And he didn't say anything because he didn't want to ruin her happiness. What the hell was going on? A lot of hand holding. This is ridiculous. I hate this thing so much. I seriously want to know what was going on in my life that I wrote some such trash. Like I understand the other one, and to be quite honest, the others that I've written are innocent. I mean, yeah, I write Spot as this. Uh, I've said it before. He's the womanizer, the rebellious punk, and all that. But everybody was writing him like that because that's what you expect. But all my others are nothing like that. This is. I'm seriously trying to figure out. I don't get it because this is just throwing everything in the kitchen sink into a story that I've never written. Maybe that's what it was. I was just trying to write something that had everything that I've never written before. Yeah, because like usually uh writers will incorporate what's going on there. Like with Jules Verne, he was a jilted lover, and that's why a lot of times women in his stories are are not as intelligent. Yeah, and everything, and just that sort of thing. And but yeah, so I'm confused. I don't get why this is happening. This is like the violence and the all of it. I really don't know, especially when the others are, are pretty innocent. I was not. Good Lord. I hate this so much. Okay, what's going on? So they go back in the house and so she Jack decided Katrina needed to get away from her house. So they decide to go for a walk. All of them. Why didn't Jack and Katrina just go by themselves? It's like, hey, let's all go as a group. This isn't weird. Not at all. Oh, so they stop in front of the statue of Horace Greeley, which in the movie, that statue was not Horace Greeley. I have a big problem with once a friend of mine pointed that out, I can't unsee it and it makes me upset every time. Now every time I watch it, I'm like, that's not Horace Greeley. And I have a huge issue with it. Okay. Uh, this so she says this was the last place I met Jay. Not really. Where where have you been, child? Okay, then her name is yelled out. They turn, they see Parker. He had bruises where they worked him where the newsies had worked him over. Elaborate, please. Oh, jeez, I hate this thing so much. Um, oh, he has a gun in his hand. What do you think you are this there's like no emotion to that. It's like, what do you think you're doing? Asked Katrina. You would think that she'd be shocked or trying to hide her, like moving behind the statue or something. What the hell? Uh, you would dare to ask that after what you did? Okay. So don't do anything you'll regret. Jay then pointed the weapon at one of the newsies. He says, "Shut up. I won't regret what I do today." This this isn't even something you would see in a badly written movie. This is just terrible. And I defended this bullshit. Oh, geez, that sounds like something that was in Star Wars. Passersby stopped and watched what was unfolding. They didn't even, none thought to contact the police. Somebody has a gun in their hand and you're just going to sit there. I hate this. Oh my gosh. I mean, like, I have a feeling that this is supposed to be like the big climactic, like edge of your seat moment. I'm just sitting there like, what the hell? I'm not even shocked anymore, you know? Oh, after all the years we've known each other, I never thought you would go against your parents. Oh, and then I guess Jack. Okay, so Jack is standing in front of Katrina, and then he says something dumb as hell, and then Jay says, "You're the reason for all of this. If you had stayed away, she and I would still be together." Um. Oh, so the two Brooklyn kids are going to jump into action, or maybe not. I just don't care anymore. This thing is so terrible. Um. So yeah, they're still talking back and forth. Seriously, all this condensed down. It's like the negotiation part. This guy has a gun. He's swinging it all over creation. It's like a hostage situation in the middle of the street, and people are just standing there. They're like, "What's happening? What's going on? Should we call the police? I don't know. What's going on?" And this isn't a Marvel movie. Just oh my gosh. Uh. So okay. Jay prepared to fire. Spot and Swindler started for him. The trigger was pulled. The crowd gasped. This is so bad. The newsies looked at Jack, who wasn't hit, so they checked each other. He looked over at Katrina. He went to her in time to catch her as she fell. When he withdrew his hand from her side, it was covered in blood. Okay, what caliber was this gun? There's a because given how much clothing they wore, yeah. I mean, she had to have worn a coat. So there's no way that would have soaked some of it. And I hate this. I hate this thing. Because again, this was April and it was freezing and excuse me. Oh, good heavens. She When he withdrew his hand from her side, it was covered. He looked down and saw she was the one hit by Jason. The blood didn't do it for you. Okay, so I love that I have to. Sorry. I love that I have to explain everything. Like, there's like 10 sentences here. I I just get rid of it. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I hit my mic. Let's see, move it. There we go. One time I was recording and like halfway through the recording, I hit my mic and I was watching the video thinking it didn't hit it. I didn't hit it very hard, so it should be okay. No, you could barely hear. So I had to do the recording all over again. I don't remember which one that was, but yeah, it's funny how that works. And so I'm still not used to this. I'll get it someday. I promise. Okay. I think at this point I was using the scene from what was it? The Mummy Returns, you know, where she got shot and he's like freaking, yeah. I think that's because this whole section just is like the exchange between Evelyn and Rick. Oh yeah. Race yelled at the people standing around. Don't just stand there, get a doctor. Uh I hate this. I hate all of it. Oh, like okay, so he's using his bandana and to apply pressure to the wound, which would make it worse. Wouldn't it? I would think so. Plus, what about because again, you're in, I don't know. All of it is just ridiculous. I hate all of it. Okay. So he wiped sweat from his face only to smear it with Katrina's blood. She would be again, if she's wearing an overcoat, that would soak up some of it. She wouldn't be bleeding that much. Logic. I didn't know what it was. Okay, so now the police are there and arrest. So the police are there, but a doctor is not. Okay, so then Katrina is asking for Snotty. Okay, I'm not even repeating that again. That's a total cringe fest right there. Uh, but as she's dying, she gave him a kiss, and and surprising the other newsies, especially Jack. And it says, with that kiss, Katrina's life slowly slipped away. And then, of course, Snotty looked at Jack with guilty eyes. This is just I'm angry. This is oh, what possessed me to write such shit? Oh my gosh. It's not even over. Okay, so Jack doesn't even seem mad. Uh, he's like, you loved her as much as I did, didn't you? And then he looks down at the lifeless body of Katrina, and she had a reason for doing what she did. Uh, he then carried the body out of the streets and said something like, "We only met her a week ago. Why does this have to happen?" Oh, I hate this so much. Officer Ford is telling him that he needs to leave the body there because it's a murder scene. And, Jack is, like in a daze or whatever. Um, and then there's like those reader boards or whatever that were on top. There's like a famous picture that shows the newspaper. Yeah. They looked up and they usually showed like the survivor or the death names or whatever. And her parents' names were added. And oh, we made it through. I hate all of it. I, oh, it'll probably be another 30 years before I look at that. Oh my gosh. Yeah, seriously. I can't think of what would make me write some, like a because it wasn't until later in life that I was physically abused and or anything. And usually people use art and that sort of thing to yeah. And so I don't get it. I don't get what would make me and I hate it. I hate all of it. I mean, there was no character development at all. Just the fact that Katrina is a total bitch. And she's spoiled. And they kept saying that, she's changed. She this, that, and the other. It's like, what about 20-year-old me couldn't see that well, 20-year-old me didn't understand math either. So, and and it's been established that 20-year-old me could not remove things. Seriously, there's a lot of it is conversation where it's like the whole stereotype of shooting the breeze. You know how you stand around and you talk to your friends for about 20-30 minutes before you part ways. And I kept that in there. It's like, oh yeah, this is important to the story. And thank goodness I don't do that anymore. But I went through a phase where and it's obvious in some of my other fan fiction, as I said, where it was like I just didn't know how to end my fan fiction. So it was like I don't know what I'm doing. Oh my gosh. This one, it's what was the plot? What was going on? I don't I don't think even I knew. Oh, good heavens. I never actually described any of the characters. The doors kept swinging open, bursting open. People were bursting through things. Oh gosh. Well, this was a trash fire in itself. But yeah, that was the first fan fiction story that I ever wrote, and I'm sure that it was in 2002 because I remember writing it in this room. I hadn't moved into the other room yet, and I was sitting on the golly. Like something had to have happened to, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I went on a date and somebody decided to be a jerk to me. I don't know. And I went on plenty of those. Yeah. Yeah, maybe that's what happened. I decided to block it out. Anyway, because trust me, a lot of the other fan fiction that I wrote is actually very innocent, but I was not. Oh dear. So that was my first fan fiction ever. Um, I don't know. I mean, I'm going through I'm trying to finish this one. It actually was a fan fiction. The Widow. It was a fan fiction. It doesn't read like it. Trust me, it doesn't read like a fan fiction. And then I'm gonna re-edit my other books. I don't know. This one, I mean, even with what we've read and everything, it does have promise. Uh, there are a couple scenes that I think are actually adorable. Look, teaching Spot how to dance. I love it. I absolutely love it. But I don't know, because I'm trying to get my stories re-edited and everything. It'll be a while. And but yeah, so that's my first fan fiction, guys. We survived.